Hi everyone. Welcome back after this Christmas period we've just had. Because that's what it feels like for me. Like I'm already in a new beginning energy, which I feel started around the 20th. To do with a deep stabilization of the heaven on earth objective that we've all been living. To summarize, we all know we've been calling more light into existence to light the way for us all. Like, where are the answers coming from? Well, they're coming from us keeping our high vibrations and calling in more light assistance, because we know in ourselves, even though on earth we haven't embraced it as such, because to believe in something more than earthly human existence seems weird or strange, that out there is actually us as well. So we've been calling in the answers of light by our persistence moving forward, wanting better for ourselves, and the courage and power of wanting better for others as well. So we're not just sort of hiding away thinking that light is just for ourselves and we have to fight for it. We are aware that we come from light. We are light. Light is the knowledge and information of the infinite, and we're here as part of an experience of that. So we just light the way for all the more we persist in that path moving forward. And so the 19th to the 21st was a big time astrologically, cosmically, for planet Earth becoming more stabilized in what we'd been working towards. So like the doors are like wide open on new energy now. New Earth. So now is the continuation, which feels like an opening into moreness. Moreness is a term that I will be using often because it's us not knowing everything, but we open into the moreness of our light paths of being. So, welcome to the new year as far as I'm concerned, because I feel like I'm in the 26 energy, because time isn't actually the frame of looking at life. Well, the way I exist anyway. The way we all actually exist, but yeah, we're in cycles. And it's good to keep note of that we're in this time frame. But the energy is not barriered or bordered of, well, that can only happen then, kind of thing. Because in the lighter framework of life, there is no essential framing. You can reach for something energetically from your being, like your consciousness becomes available to it, and the path opens up with the things that you need. Which is why I want to talk about how we've been operating and will continue to, but if we just open up the education of ourselves on how we are operating, Then we'll just have more awareness of, excuse me, our capabilities. And I use some words with caution because I don't want to trigger the mind patterns that we've known. I want us more to embrace this fact. So I've got thinking and a little description of how I see it as energy, allowing how I see it as energy to do with our field, and feeling how I see it to do with our field. So operating in we are just this, we are just humans, we got structures in place, and this is the way it stays, right? And we just kind of go along with it. And then over a time period, we might, follow some spontaneous inspiration and open up a new chapter in life, or come across different experiences and opportunities. But we just really put that down to luck. We don't actually see it as we've actually followed something, like some messaging inside of us to do with the light energy connection that we are. So it's just bringing this knowledge into us that we are not just receiving because we're walking around on planet Earth and we live this way and I'm lucky when things come to me. Or if I work hard enough, I'll get those goals and aims that everyone is persisting with. So, thinking has taken over the energy field. And it does look like solid kind of lines. We send out, like, we're sitting there thinking about something, and we don't have to think so much about it, but we've got ourselves stuck in thinking because we associate thinking with that's how I'll get anything. So we think about it and we think, then we have this solidified feeling in our beings, just to sort of speed up what happens, solidified feeling in our beings of how do I get this? And thinking. Okay, but our energy is solidifying. It's not relaxing into the flow of the nature of spirit, that which we are. Just because we're solid, we've been kind of like thinking that we are just solid. And so we've gone deep into the solid nature of being and opened it up and looked at everything. But then we've also got the other aspect, which is the mystical knowledge of life that, we've known, that says, well, you're actually this as well. So if we just rely on our minds and like thinking our way into things, and then someone comes along and says, well, no, it's done this way from their thinking, then we just stay in the thinking energy of life, and that has just smothered and suffocated the free energy fields that we truly are. And that's where, you open up to higher, lighter information, speed. And so that's when allowing comes into it. So if you're in the midst of thinking and you know that life has and is still built around what people have thought, what you might be thinking hard about creating, you've got to allow the flow nature, that it's not all your thinking that's going to create it. And then you can stop the thinking, okay? And it's a little bit difficult because we're going from like the dense energy field of awareness of operation of thinking. So to introduce into your being, you allowing, okay, let's sit at a table we've got these thoughts. Now, let's take a breath. Let's allow the energy to speak to what we just put out. So that's where thinking can look like straight lines, and there is gaps in between, but that's where other people's thoughts fill that space as well. So this is like our thinking. We think, then we're sitting there, other people's thoughts come into it, other people's thoughts come into it. When do we actually say, okay, enough thinking. All right, so we've thought of this. Now, as beings with a universe available, let's allow. It just needs to be introduced that there is this other flow, and we are not here as masterminds just thinking. So the allowing energy looks like you're inviting in more into your field of a higher nature, instead of the sheltered lives we've lived thinking we're in control of everything, and if you know this person, then you know this will happen, and it's just these certain people that know things and stuff like this, all at the keeping it at the thinking level of that kind of system. Whereas we are all light beings that can allow more. And so it comes to the heart level, really, because the thinking stops the heart expression. Because of all the different conformity structures we believe from all the thinking joining up like linear experience. Now this is true, we live a linear experience, but we are not just that. So we just don't need to have this sort of line across, you know, seeing higher or seeing more. And the key is at the chest. The key is at your central feelings you allow to rise in your field when you want something different. And that's when, if you take notice of wanting something different or new, or you have signs in your experience of life, you don't shut it down with the nature of thinking and the way it is. You have to actually observe the fact that I really want something, but I'm stopping myself for some reason, right? And then we really have to look at that, because the stopping ourselves from something is from the fact that we don't allow. And allowing is of a soft nature. It's of a, I'm just going to open my space to, I could be more than this, you know, like there could be more in life for us. You know, just because we've operated and just because we've run things this way and, you know, known certain structures and people to hold things in place, and, you know, there could actually be more for us. And it's through my being that I need to follow some inspiration or guidance that flows to me. Like I'm playing an important part in the energy field of wherever I am. All of us. So that's why it's just crazy to see how we've got to a time period on Earth where if they wear the suit, or if they have the money, or if they have anything earthly that says it looks, they've got more. We actually allow ourselves to think that that's where we need to be, instead of, because it just narrows it all down. It narrows a person's energy field down to being subservient, really, to that's so far away for me to reach. But really, we don't want to reach for what they have. It's our expression. It's how do I live more and not just believe something outside of me is, you know, my objective. When I have that, oh, look at everyone, you know, glowing from it. Well, they're not really. that's just been put on show to capture your attention. And yeah, it's just interesting how it's just this thought process has had us all ignorant and hypnotized in a way that we actually are like nothing. You know, like that's the power. We work hard if we want something, if we want to be like that. Well, you know, it doesn't take much for souls growing up like we have to wisely take a look at, well, I don't actually want to be like that person. What is it that I want? Is what helps me glow inside. So you can only really discover that if you do have times in quiet and take that quiet person out. So, and so that's where we've been. We've really quietened ourselves down from thinking structures, and we just got more to offer. So it's us allowing ourselves out into the fact that we are more as well, and we allow more in from our universal teams. And so feeling is when you do that quiet with yourself. You come home to the quiet of yourself and actually accept that you are a consciousness. That your consciousness hasn't come here to be just what they want. You know, all of us, we can look at that in our own lives. Just this bit of my consciousness gets to express itself, being this for this structure. Now, of course, we do have to have structures and things in place, but they've gotten limited by what we actually believe is power in the world. Instead of people like us now on the planet standing up for the inner strength, where we see this imbalance that has gotten horrific, where some people are allowed stuff and some people aren't. And what is the powers we've given power to? It's just individuals that we've given power to on this earth. And it's not to point fingers, but obviously there are players that are these individuals. It is to say we as a whole have given over power to say this is, you know, accepted. Where we're slowly standing up and emphasizing the flame in all of us, that no one's come here to do that for anyone, you know? And so you see these, I'll say actors of life, because we're all in this theater of creation, but it's our choices that matter. So instead of giving power and attention over and not fully getting together as, you know, standing up for more than what we see, allowing that to happen, we are then emphasizing the light on the planet, which is now supported because we're watched universally, cosmically felt. And, you know, it's like, this is who you really are. So, yeah, enjoy this time on earth, as in, yeah, do stand up for who you are. Do assist where you can. Do all these things you know are good, because that's where your power is being emphasized. Like it is, that's what's happening now. So we have each of us expressing these things, how I see it and how everyone sees it, because we are just waking up out of this slumberish because of the light. We're just growing into ourselves. So we've all played our part, you know. We have everyone doing what they're doing as we see it, and we see it because we're in like 3-dimensional, where we're seeing it. But you know, the light, hold space for the intelligence of light, and align with it as much as you can. Like, we are intelligent light, so if you want something, express it. And the only thing I'll say to that, still speaking about feelings, is you come home to the awareness and the belief in yourself that we're actually more. So you need to hold that space for yourself. So allow yourself to express things in a different light, perhaps to new people. Just be called into the light however you want. And then it gets less about you have to be brave or something, or you have to be anything. It's more about, now's the time that your light is actually supported. So just sort of gently, but enthusiastically from yourself, like living, like, you know, gently with, and let go of anything that's of a nature of stopping it, really. So I be careful in what words I use, because I don't want the destructive nature of the frequency of some words. Like when you say ego, it just pops up energy everywhere, because people essentially think of ego as sometimes like an insult. I mean, egos have been overbearing on this planet, right? Because we haven't looked to the moreness that we are, and we just sort of determinedly play the part of forcing and enacting, and I've got more than you, and you're going to believe that this is powerful, and you'll give me your attention, and here I am like this. Well, that's heaviness is not being supported by people's power anymore, because they got to support themselves. That's coming out of the slumber. We support ourselves, and we don't have or need anyone that's sort of rising above us saying, you're different and we don't like this, so you can't come to these lands. Things like this, you know, how it really gets like, I will say what goes on this earth, you know, like, no. Bullshit. People can go wherever the freaking hell they want to go, you know. If you're a leader and you see problems happening, you come back home to yourself and ask, how can I assist? Like, what's going on for me to see this rash occurring, this heat, this issue? How can I actually be of service? You know? So when we're waking up to what we are, so that we can just be what we are. We're part of a universe. So like, if you want to come here and enjoy doing something, you do it. And so yeah, all the structure and constriction and everything that's come from believing thought patterns of others, it's just gotten powerful. That energy was powerful. But now we realize allowing, and so feeling, right? I will just finish on this, because I think about half an hour is a good amount of time for a chat. Feeling is why over probably about 50 years, give or take, you know, like the build-up of it happening and downloads on Earth, etc., etc. Why? But it has been happening bits and pieces with the mystical nature of those who have walked the earth saying, you know, peace is possible, etc., etc. So that's really just energy interplay. So when meditation gets introduced to us or certain Eastern traditions get introduced to us, it's just a matter of, it's not a particular oh, those people do this. It's an energy introduction to the planet to say, I'm hearing on a large scale that meditating is of assistance. Now, meditating isn't my focus here. It's the fact of slowing down into you, into your energy field that is not of go, go, go. That's how we create. And possible I'll force, I'll manipulate, I'll use these, what you see with two eyes, I'll use this power interplay and you'll give me all your attention and thought process, and so I'll build a mountain with this thought process. Whereas meditation is saying, there's another way of life, and the energetic nature of it is you feel more empowered when you do come home to yourself and spend a bit of time in the fact that you are not just that out there. You are not just here to do something for somebody. You are actually here to live the moreness of your energy field. And moreness is a word that is eternal, expansive of nature, and that is what you are. So if we're going to narrow life down on Earth in any way, we're only going to go so far as to say we're unique souls here for a certain time period. We are not ever going to give away again on this planet, and I won't say for all eternity, but I will say this is like a crucial upward turning point where we've done our work on this earth for her inhabitants being, we'll do what the fuck we want. Sorry for the language, but earth has been watched for this assistance now, and all us strong believers, our souls waking up to this, have assisted the stabilization for further progression. So like for upward, better progression. So that's why this is such a massive, crucial time in, you know, the eternal experience. So when something keeps repeating in our experience where we do hear of meditation or we do hear of natural therapies, we have thrown out insult, you know? But if we give space, we would have known in our lifetime that natural therapies has helped us in some way. Meditation does assist. And meditation is not just Om, although that is freaking beautiful. It is, because we are sound and that's central, it is beautiful. Meditation is allowing yourself creativity of your expansive nature. So that is why meditation has sort of hit us over the last 50 years, I'll say. I mean, I'm 48, nearly 49, and I know it had been around that time, you know, like where the hippie nature structure just took it a bit too far, but we were being introduced to a calmer way of life to actually express ourselves more. And then, you know, we had lingering, and we do have lingering remnants of warring energy to deal with in our energy atmosphere. So everyone's sort of relaxing too much or expressing ourselves, you know, strongly. And then we have the scientific angle that will look at the solid nature, and then puzzled as to, you know, there's no puzzling really. It's just, we are of a powerful nature. I mean, take a look at the cosmos and just meditate on that. Like, don't add thought patterns to it. Just become it, you know? It's what we are. So that would be my summary of feeling, where it is a constant there for you to meet up with, and it is of your spiritual nature, and higher spiritual nature that is assisting us now is the reminder that we are that, you know, we are this particular soul frequency on earth at this time period, so that we can just sort of burst open to the truth. Seriously, once we start being aware that, you know, and letting go of structures that we've held in place that really, when we're honest with our feeling and allowing, and, you know, and when we stop the this is the way it is thought patterns, and then we just join it, loosen it up. Okay. So this is wisdom, essentially. So if we work together wisely in allowing more, then we're going to make great changes in our time period on earth. So I'm thankful to get all that out and reach the half-an-hour mark, so that's good. I hope you all had a very merry time with some grounding and nurturing of just life itself and any of the beauty you've experienced. And I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.